Okay, welcome back. Should be the last video for the 1-537 Reliant masking kit from MaskDesign. We've done the hull, the main section now. We've done the pylons. We've done the nacelles. We're going to work on this this kind of a center section. We're calling this the torpedo bay assembly. So the first thing we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to do some pre-masking on this guy, and everything's found on sheets 18. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these pieces off. We don't need clear, and we're going to place them on the front. This little area right in here, and there's a little square on here. These need to be painted a dark gray first before we can continue on. So I'm going to pull these pieces off. Here are the black pieces here, so we're just going to take these and we're just going to kind of start right in this little area right in here. Kind of lay it right in here. You'll see there's a little raised area. This is a kind of a little raised area here. That's what we're going to be painting the medium gray. So that's pretty much the area you're looking for. I think it's probably better if I get a white paper behind here because it's a little easier to see than on the. I just use the black towel on here so I don't scratch up the model. So we're going to put one of these on the other side too, and then this area here is going to be painted kind of a medium gray. Also, there's a little triangle, a little raised triangle here in the aft. This also has to be painted medium gray. You can go ahead and paint it. I would just maybe put a little masking tape over this section here. Paint this the medium gray, because once we're done that, we have a mask that will go over that to protect it, so we can move on with the steps ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff on, shoot this gray, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, our gray's been applied. I'm just going to take all the masking off and just show you what we've done here. Okay. So once again, all the colors that we're using on this in these instruction videos are what we came up with. Everybody perceives color a little differently, so we will include the colors that we have. But what we've got is we've just got a whole bunch of different acrylic paints, so we just kind of mix a color that's really close for us, but we'll put all that information in the instruction guide once the kits come out. Okay, so we've got all this done. So now our next step on our pre-mask is, now that this dark gray has been put on, there's actually like a comb pattern that sits on either side of these, and it's done in a dark gray, or the medium gray, which we have here, plus a lighter gray. Also, the whole assembly here is a light gray too, with some white patterns that we'll be leaving alone. So we're going to have some pre-masked for that. But right now we're going to, off of sheet 18, we're going to remove these two little sections. And you just got to be careful. And the only thing I want to weed is the outside of it. I don't want to weed the combs off because it's almost impossible to get them without removing everything else. Okay, so I'll show you on the instruction guide what we're going to do here. We're actually going to remove these pieces. We're going to install them as is, and then we're going to remove this comb piece off the model. And then you can see how the comb piece will now be painted light gray, so will the rest of the torpedo. So I'm going to get these cut out. I'm going to get a mask, put some clear on them. I'm going to get them on the model, and I'll come right back before we start the next thing. Okay, so here's these little sections. We're just going to try and pull them off with everything still intact. And you can probably touch the back gently just to remove some of the tact, because we are putting this over a painted area. But if you're not having problems with paint lift, then you're okay. One of the things we've mentioned before is once we mix color, we usually just put it in a little cup and give it a name on it. So if we do some scratching or we need to do some repainting, we have this color here. This will usually stay in the cups for, I'm going to guess, a couple weeks. Probably within a week you might have to add a little bit more thinner because it might start to dissipate. But other than that, yeah, you can probably still use these over again. So the only really area you need to cut close with the mask or the clear is just this edge here, because this edge has to sit right up against this side here and right along the little grid line that's in there. Okay, you can see the comb. You just grab the end of it, and hopefully all the other little pieces will stay behind. Okay, that's all you need to do that. I'm going to get the other side on, and we'll be right back. Okay, both sides of those are now put on. Now we're going to start working on the top here. There's some areas we have to cut mask off, and we call them pre-masks. They're sitting right here, and they're found again on sheet 18. These you don't need no clear on. You just peel these off and put them in place, and they're pretty obvious where they go. So right on this corner right here, and then follow this edge all the way up. That's what we're going to be protecting. This area here will stay white, then there's light gray that goes right on the outside of this. So just where the grids are is where we need to leave this white. Okay. And then there's one for the center section that has a notch on it for the back, because the back, we're doing some compound corners here, so we're going to start right here on the center. So just kind of eyeball this in the center, right on the part of the grid. And there's no patterns, these are pre-masks, so if it's not exactly right, you can pull it off and put it back on again. But now you just want to put this so it's kind of center where these two wings are. And then just go down the center lightly, and then to the edge. And then these, what we're trying to protect is we're trying to protect this area right in here. So all you want to do is just have this go down kind of right on that point, and right on that point, and then it allows it to fold over. Now, so we'll have to put a little bit more masking on here to keep that white, but this kind of gets most of it done for you. Okay, so that's all that one. Now we can move to the underside. The underside is the same thing as we just did on the top here. We're going to be using the same pieces from sheet 18. Again, just peel and stick. You can start start wherever you want with these. They pretty much fall right into place where they are. But all we're trying to protect is just the raised areas. And then you can see where the raised areas are. They just kind of go around here. So that's that. And one for the center. The center is just a square piece, and it's just going where this edge, right along here, and then right along where that one is. Again, just like we did the other one, just kind of centered in, and then right to the back, and then down the sides. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to paint everything that's on this center section, this center assembly, not the wings. The wings you're going to have to tape off and protect those, but everything around in here, here, along in here, edges, this whole front assembly. You can go ahead and paint all this. You're going to pre-paint the detail in here later on. All of this is all going to be done in a light gray. All right, well, I'm going to get a lot of this taped off, probably reposition a few of these because it's harder for me to see until I get the the magnifying glass over top, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's another good place that those sheets we had, all those strips that we provide you with the kit. We can use some of those to actually go around the wing, make a nice sharp line there, and then you can just fill the rest up with masking tape. All right, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot this all with a light gray, and then we're going to be right back and remove the masks. One mask I forgot to tell you about is now we painted this backside. We painted with that triangle. There's a triangle that's on sheet 18, and that'll help protect that area so you can paint. Yeah, just pull this little piece off here, and you just kind of place it in right over top of this. And then once you paint the light gray, you can pull all this off, and that triangle will stay dark. All right, now I'll go and shoot the light gray on. Okay, well, our light gray has been placed on here, so now we're going to take everything off. It is a very light gray. It's almost hard to see, but once you, especially on the bottom here, you can see the difference between the white and the gray. So, all right, I'm going to take all these off. I'm going to use a magnifier to get these off, and I'll come right back and show you the results. Okay, well, there you go. You can just barely see that little comb. That's exactly what you want to see. You want to see it dark with just a little light. You can see how the light gray does stand out from the white, and that's all painted up. And now we're going to move on to our first pattern. Now what we're going to do on this one is we're actually going to reverse the patterns we were doing before. Before we were doing the tan patterns first, then using the gray sheet and doing the blue masks. The unfortunate part is that the lineage or the way the masks are done on here, the most intricate part is the blue mask. So we're going to do the blue first, and then we'll do the tan after. And you really won't notice the difference. It's just that if you see why we're doing one thing one way and one the other, you're going to know why. All right, well, I'm going to get all those pieces ready, and I'll come right back. Okay, so we're getting ready to do the first pattern assembly on the torpedo assembly, I guess. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put marks from the forward edge into the wing itself, 3 millimeters long. So I'm just going to put 2 ticks on here. One there, and then one down somewhere here, just looking like straight down the wing. I think I already have ticks on there from last time. Also, we do it on the bottom and on the top. So the reason we're doing that is we need to paint the forward edge of this wing a light blue. So what we're going to use is we're going to use the masking sheet that we've got here to kind of give us our line, and then all you got to do is just tape off these locations and paint it blue, and then you're good to go. So we're going to start by removing these. Like I said, this one I'm just starting in the corner and go right up against the torpedo housing, and be where where we've got that tick mark at 3 millimeters, so that you meet the other tick at 3 millimeters. So that's our 2 there. Doing the same thing, starting 3 millimeters back and lining it up to the other mark you put. Okay. Center sections. Again, start at the back. So what it is we're just putting a pattern on these 7 raised areas here, not on this area here. So we're actually just going to follow this section around. Now if you're going to be we're going to be putting this mask over top of that one, you might want to just reduce that tact We just painted this recently, so we haven't really given it a lot of chance to dry because we're trying to get the videos out, but I think we should be okay. So we're just right along that edge there. And the last one. The last one has a notch taken out of it, so we can do the same kind of fold around like we did on the on the pre-mask. So we're just going to start at the front, kind of center this right in the middle, and just tap it down and spin this around, and then kind of eyeball it down the middle. And then you can rub one side down and the other side. On the back you can only do one side right now because you're going to have to remove the clear, as the pieces won't overlap with the clear on both sides. Okay. Just fold one side down and then the other side. Okay. So now when we come to paint, we're going to have to cover all this stuff up on this side because we don't want this to get painted. We're going to have to put a line or something along this edge, and also this. Also all of the light gray we painted around we're going to have to do. So we're going to do that. So we've got this. This is all done. We're going to move on now to this page, which is the bottom or the underside. Okay, using those 2 3mm ticks, line up the bottom. And this last one here, like any of the ones that have little slices in them, you just have to remove the clear out of here, so it'll allow you to install it a little easier. So this one we just line up right in the back. Okay, well, we taped off the forward edges of this torpedo bay, and I've taped them off and given it a coat of the same blue we came up for with the impulse crystals. I think that's a pretty close color. It's I don't want it to be too dark. I kind of like the lighter subdued colors. Makes the model look a little natural. We'll take all the masking off and see how it came out. So there's your blue pattern. Now we'll get ready and we'll knock off the tan pattern. I'll get everything ready and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to be doing the tan pattern on this, and what we need to do is we need to find these two sections right here that are on the sheet 18. Now we have to use black ones on this one, not the gray, because these little lines are really hard. You're going to have to try and put them on there and space them, and you're never going to get it right. I've tried, so I thought we just do these in black. So we've got one for the top, we've got one for the bottom, and all we really have to do is we just have to line up the grid lines when we're placing it on. I'm just going to touch the back of this, take some of the tact off. You can do whatever you want with it. It'll work either way. Okay, let's get this one out of the way. So starting around that front grid right after the light gray, just center this guy. Do the same thing, flip it over and center it down here. And then give it a touch on the center, and then you can go left and right. And then one side down, and then we'll have to pull the clear off before we get the other side seated. So let's get the gray, the clear off. And then we just seat one side down. Again, protecting the white that we had on there before. And then the other side. So that's the top section, middle done. Now on sheet 7, you're going to find the other sheets here, and these are all going to be in gray, so we can just do peel and stick again. Now it's easy to know which ones are which because there's a little notch on this one. That's this notch right here. So what we're going to do is do like we did before and try and pull these off and leave the pieces behind. And that didn't work, so we're going to have to weed these then. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. With these, you don't have to remove the tack. These are, like I said, these are a lot less tacky than the blacks, so you can just kind of place it in place. Okay, same thing on the wings. Okay, so the wings we made a little bit longer to actually cover this area that you painted blue. So we can start these wings right on this edge, and they should be long enough to go over this to kind of protect that. And we can just start these just against the torpedo assembly and just follow it. Now these that were cut out here, these are the same yellow ones we did on the pylon. So these you'll have to paint yellow and then put tape over these, because there's actually the two. There's one on this side, one on that side. And don't fret if you don't get it absolutely perfect. Like I said, we're just creating a pattern. It's not a detail thing. So okay. On this side, we're going to have the one from sheet 18 again. And it starts right at the back. You can see which way it goes. There's actually grid lines. You can see if the grid lines match the existing ones. If you had it around this way, nothing would line up. So center on this one. And then kind of just center it on this guy. Rub down the center of this and then down either side. Okay. Now these right here, I guess I'll just show you these while we're working on these before I cover everything up and you can't see it. what these masks are, there's some areas that are kind of a darker blue. And what they are is that's this little triangle right in here, or this little area right in here. This will go over top of that, so you can paint this blue. This one will go over top of that to paint that one blue. Also on the top, this front, or this little back ornament on the back here is blue. That's what this is. This will be for. This will be, you'll be able to cover that up and then spray that blue. So that's what those three are for. Okay, so just like before, we're going to cover everything that we don't want to paint tan, and then that's including all these lines right in here, and then we'll paint all these little squares tan, and we'll come right back. Okay, well, we masked everything off, and we shot these four rectangles on the outer part of the wings yellow, and then I'm just going to cover these up, and I'm going to go and shoot everything our tan color, and I'll be right back. All right, everything got its shot at tan on it, so let's take things off and see how we did. Okay, well, there you go. That's a lot of work to do this little guy. Okay, so now we're going to go back to these other pages, like these other ones I was telling you about. So on the bottom, I'm going to lay these. They should fit exactly right over top. I'll probably have to reposition them again with a magnifier after I get them on here. But you can see where these go. Okay, so it'll be those three. I'm going to mask everything off. I'm going to paint those the blue, and we'll come right back. Okay, so there you go. I masked off this front edge. We painted that blue and the two little areas in the back, and all the panel markings is all done. All the yellows are all done. I think the torpedo, but other than the detail you're going to have to paint in here, I think for that masking kit, I think we're good to go on that one. So now we're going to put that one aside. And the last one we got to do is this lower sensor dome. I'll grab the mask and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to move on to the lower sensor array, and the masking you're going to find is going to be located on sheet 4. There's actually 2 of them because there's different steps. We have to take off masks, put them back on, so I just thought it'd be easier if I sent you 2 of them. Now I went ahead and weeded these. This is very difficult to weed. There's a lot of small parts, as you can see in this line diagram here, so you can do that if you wish, or you can just cut out each individual piece as you need it. I just like to do it this way so that I know which one is going in which location. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply all of this mask that's here on this step, and then we're going to remove stuff once it's on here, because otherwise it just gets too hard to take off or to pull off of here and to get it in the right orientation. So we'll do that. I'm going to clear all this, and then we'll come back and I'll start putting all that together. Okay, so we're going to apply all these to the lower sensor array, and we cut really tight to these sides. We left these long sides with clear, because it really doesn't matter. It's just the inside this curve that you'll need to align stuff. So let's try by taking one of these off. Okay. So this one's the forward one, and what you're going to do is just kind of put it right up against the dome, and kind of center it, and then push it down. It's also going to get folded over, and then you can pull the clear off. Again, right up against the dome. Center it. Push it down. Okay, and then these guys in the same orientation they are here. And start at the bottom and just fold them up. Okay, so let's put these away for now. Now step 2, we're going to remove everything that's in white. So in the same orientations, everything you see that's in white we're going to remove and paint like gray. And you don't really need these, so you can just put them wherever. That one. See what I mean? You'd never be able to use this piece again, so this is why I give you another one of these, so you don't need these. Once you pull them off, you can scrap them. This white one here. This little triangle. Now you can take these little guys off. You really don't need them on there. It was just easier to do 2 copies of this than one. So we don't need those right now. The other side right here. Just make sure you got everything done. Okay. Okay, so now we've got all this done. We're going to paint everything a light gray except the sensor dome. So you'll have to tape that off, but everything else you can give a light gray coat, and then we're going to come back and we're going to add masks and take more masks, and we're going to go to a medium, and then we're also going to go to a dark gray. So a medium, light gray, medium gray, and a dark gray. So you can just make those up. I'll come up with some plans here. I know right here we said paint a very light gray. This we have to change before you get the instructions, but what we're going to be painting first is the light gray. I'll get that taped off and painted, and I'll be right back. Well, you can probably see I've changed the instruction guides because it was there was some stuff that just wasn't jiving with what we were talking about. So I've kind of simplified it a little bit, which should make things a little easier. But anyway, in the first case, we put all these on. We took everything off that was in white and we painted light gray. Now we're going to take these two sections off in the hatched area because we don't need those anymore. So let's take these off. Okay, now in this step, it says apply masks, all shown in red. So everywhere there's a red, you're going to be applying the mask. So this one will just be applying the whole mask on this top section, and it says we're going to be removing all the gray areas. So all of these gray areas will be removed. And you can see on this one, the two little dots are actually going to stay in place. So let's just start on this. Well, actually, let's get the red ones on first, just so we don't get confused. I'm going to just put some clear on these ones. And I think I need clear on most of these because I think these have the little dots in them. If they don't have the dots, this one doesn't, then you can just take this one off. And just take this one off and put it on here to protect the light gray that we just painted. So that's that one. And what I would probably do is if this one has two dots on it, so I have to do that one with the clear. This one I don't need clear. This one has a dot in it. This one has a dot in it. This one. So now I'll need to put clear on these, and I'll come right back and we'll apply the rest of these. Okay, so what I did is I just kind of went around and I took off all the parts I don't need. It'll make more sense once I show you what we're doing. So I cleared this one here because we're going to be putting this piece on here, the red piece. Then we're going to be removing these three, or yeah, there's still one on there, so this one actually could stay black. But I put a clear on here so that these all stay together. Then I don't have to remove the ones because I already removed them on the stencil here. So I'm just going to place this right over top. So the red is replacing, the gray is removing. So we've got that one, that one, that one. We need to remove this one. So I'll just take this off of this guy. Okay. Now let's move down to this guy right here. This is the red one. This one has little dots on it, so we had to put clear on it. I just left the clear long so I could actually handle it. I'm just going to place this right over top where we painted before it. I'll go slow because this little this is a small piece, but it has a lot of little steps we have to do. Okay, these two are red. They have little ticks on them again, so I'm just going to use a piece of clear. Being that these are getting really small, I'm not going to bother cutting them out. I think I'm just going to lay a full piece of clear over top and just lift the whole piece. There we go. Just kind of put it right over top. Okay. Don't worry if you don't get them exactly right on. It'll just add a, with the way we're painting this, there'll be darks and lights, so it'll just add a little interest to each one. Okay, so that's that one. This one we already put in because it doesn't have any little squares. This one does have squares, so we're going to do the same thing. Okay, this one we already put on. This guy here needs, well, this one doesn't have any on it either, so we can just pull this one off. We don't need that one side, just this side. Okay, so all the red ones are the new ones. We've got all these on. Okay, so now we've got all the red on. The next thing we have to do is remove the areas that are shown in gray. So with this first one here, it's showing the two black dots should stay behind. If they don't, really don't fret about it. You can always put some in. Mine stayed on. Okay, it's this whole section here comes off. And it stays. Okay, just like that. And on this back one here, this all comes off. Just like that, and then this one comes off. And this all gray one here comes off. Okay, this gray comes off. Okay, and we already took this one off. Okay, so now it's saying, now that we've got all this all done, now we're going to be painting all this a medium blue, except for this little square here. This little square on the Enterprise was light blue. From everything we've seen on the movies and stuff, I really never get it. You never get a good look at this square. So we're going to paint it the same as the Enterprise. We're just going to assume right now that it's going to be the same. So what you can do is you can paint this little area blue first, and then cover this up with a piece of masking tape, then paint everything medium gray, and I'll be right back after I've got everything painted up for you. Okay, well, we masked off everything. I painted this little front section the light blue. There's a light blue in there. That's that impulse we used. That's one I had mixed already. I put that on there. Painted everything else medium gray. Now we're going to go to things that are dark gray. So things that are dark gray are going to be a little bit more challenging, because what they are is, if we work around here, it's these two dots, these two dots, this dot, these two dots, these two dots, and this triangle, but you got to leave the black behind. So let's pull this triangle off first. Okay. And this one dot in here, it's got to come out. Okay. These two dots on here. This one on this side. Okay, one of these two. with these two. Okay, so now we're going to be putting the dark gray down. You're going to have to mask right along this line here, kind of keep this triangle separated from everything, and shoot that. What you can probably do is take a piece of paper, depending on how tight your airbrush is. I would just cut a little square out of here. And then I'll probably make this again, but I'm just going to quickly go over it. What I do is I just put a little bit of masking tape, not right at the opening, but just a little bit past it. Okay. Do that on all four sides. So what we've created, there's a little piece here, there's a little masking tape right here, and what you can do is you can actually lay this right over top of here, press it down, and then that isolates those two. You can just give those a little gray, pull that off, move to the next one, put it down, isolate it, do that. Okay, so we're going to paint these. All these are going to go gray, dark gray, and this little triangle. Let's get that painted. We'll come right back. Okay, so we've given everything the dark gray color. We can start pulling all this stuff off and see what we come up with. Well, there you can see the pattern we've kind of created for this. Couple here I didn't get off. Okay. I got a few touch-ups to do. It's a small piece. You know, it's just the way it is. You're going to have to do a little bit of touch-ups. That's why we keep everything in a little jar beside us here, so we can do the minor touch-ups on it. But that's that. You just have to do some painting in the dome itself, and I think you're pretty much done that. All right, we're going to move on to windows and sensor bands and get that all taken care of. We'll be right back. Okay, we'll move on to the sensor bands and windows that are found on the side of the hull, and that's this area right in here, this area, and then we're also going to do the bands. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the windows first, because they're a little easier to tape off than the sensor bands, because there's 3 sensor bands. So what you need to do is you need to pull these windows off, and they are small, so get yourself just a, we're going to get a scrap piece of this, and we're going to pull off the windows. This is going to take some time. This will definitely have to be done under the microscope or viewfinder or whatever. And you just want to pop these off and save them. Don't worry if you lose one. The band, but the area between the sensor bands is about 2.5 mils. You can always cut a piece of tape to cover that all over if you want to do it, but I think it's just easier if we do all this. We'll paint the windows, we'll take all these masks, put them back on the mask themselves in the same places, and then we can pull off all the sensor bands and paint those. But I'm going to get all these windows pulled off, and I'll come right back and we'll continue on. Alright, well, I took off all the windows. You can see I've got them all here on this little card. I'm going to keep this card. We'll use that after. These are about 12.5 inches long, so your clears that are that come with it will not be long enough. They're only about 11 inches, but you can always just overlap another piece after. It doesn't hurt it at all. Okay, I'm going to grab the model and we'll get these pieces on. Okay, they're pretty easy to figure out. This one here has got the slope on this side, so this is obviously port side. The other one will be the starboard side. What you basically want to do is we're going to take this one off here and we're going to be putting it with the windows up. So if you look behind, you can just barely see where those sensor lines are. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up on the top and right up against this back piece in here. So hopefully we can see this. We're going to go right up against this edge here and right along the top. Make sure our sensors are on the bottom. And kind of line it up on the top. We're just going to be doing the windows right now. Okay. This next one is going to start right on here, right on this little angle, and it's going to go this way. And then once you get around to this side, we're going to be centering it in the thickness of the hull. Let's get it put right on this edge here, right along the bottom. To the front, and then all the way around, but centering it in the hull, or on the side of the hull, and then just carefully smooth it out, because the curve on the bottom is a little smaller than the curve on the top. So what we need to do is we just need to smooth this out and then start pulling the clear off. Just pull a little bit of the clear off and then just go over it with your finger. Just make sure you got everything seated. I'll get the other side on and we'll be right back. Okay, so I got all the masking on and it's all tucked in there nice, and there is an overlap of about 2 or 3 millimeters on here, so all you have to do is just line them up. You'll do one side then the other side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shoot the windows. We're going to make them a black or just an off black, and then just leave the masks on and we'll come right back. So I'll paint all that up and then we'll come right back and continue on with the sensor arrays, or the sensor bands. Okay, well, we gave everything a shot of a black that we have. We actually use a Tamiya paint that's called rubber black. It's not black, it's kind of it's a nice black. It's kind of a grayish black. So now what we got to do is we want to pull off, before we do the windows, cover them up, I want to pull off this. There's 3 sensor bands here. They're really small, so hopefully you can, this is zooming in. I'm going to need a magnifier so I can see what's going on. Okay, you just see that we pulled the 3 small ones off. We're going to do the same thing on the front forward section. That's those ones. So we'll pull off this back side. All right, well, right on the center line is where the 2 match, and if this didn't match up for you, just pull one at a time back and realign it. Mine turned out pretty good, so we're good to go there. So now that you got your sensor bands pulled off, now you can go ahead and cover up the windows with those little masks, and then we can mask off everything and paint the sensor bands. What was it? So you can just see here how there's really small windows that reside right in between the bands here. So if you did lose some windows while you're doing this, you can just put a piece of masking tape in there. Just cut your masking tape a little shyer than what the distance is between the bands here, and you just lay that right over top, and then you're all covered. I don't know which way is easier for you guys, maybe just doing the masking tape or putting the windows back in, but that's the way it'll go. And I'm going to go ahead and get all that stuff on, and then I'll be right back and we'll shoot the sensor bands. Okay, so I taped up all my windows and got ready. I didn't use any of this. This was just way too hard. This would be too hard on me to tell you to use these things. So what we did is I cut masking tape 1.5 millimeters. And 1.5 millimeters fits in the right in between the sensor bands, so it covers it up nicely. Took no time at all. These ones were just a solid piece. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tape off everything. I'm going to give the sensor bands their blue color, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, we gave our sensor bands a coat of blue paint. We're going to take all the masking tape off and see how we did. Oh, we have windows. Not too shabby. Okay, well, let's remove everything else. All right, well, I'll continue removing all this, and you can see it's working out pretty good. I'm going to remove all this, and we're going to come back and we're going to be doing the same thing on these two risers on the upper part of the hull. Okay, so all the windows are now exposed, the sensor band's all on, everything's in line. That's the nice thing about doing the windows and the sensor band on the same strip. You don't have to worry about lining them up. I've already done that for you. All right, so now we're going to continue on with these two risers right here. We're going to go to sheet 1, and on sheet 1 we have port and starboard sides to put on. I've included 2 of them because the few of the tests I put on there, sometimes they might be a little difficult to get on. Maybe not. I had the space on sheet 1, so I've given you 2. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just remove the windows, throw them away because the masking tape works way better. Like I said, just cut a piece of masking tape 1.5 millimeters, and that covers it all up. You can see it didn't pull any of the black off, and it fit perfectly. We still got all our sensors in. Okay, well, I'm going to put some clear on this. I'll be right back, and we'll start assembling these. Okay, well, we got the clear on these, and like I said before, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to remove the windows. We're going to put these on. We're going to spray the windows, cover these up, and then there's a really fine grid line. You'll see once you get them on there, and that once we got the windows covered, painted and covered, we're going to pull that grid off, and that grid actually is the tan color. So then we're just going to paint the tan color over top of that. And the only really areas you have to do is you don't have to worry about the tops because the tops overextend this way, so that the clear can be long. It's just right in here along the bottom edges because they got to conform to around these areas here. Okay, so let's get these on and just kind of start them wherever. I just start near the bottom. Just pull these slowly so you don't pull any of the other masks off. Okay, I'm going to mask this off. I'm going to go and shoot those with the same black we used on these, and I'll come right back and I'll get the other grid line ready for you. Okay, well, we got our masking on the windows. So that's just the same thing, the 1.5 millimeters. So I masked all that off, pulled all the brick grid lines off. We're going to go and shoot that with the tan, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, our tan has been painted over all that brick molding. I'm going to go ahead and take everything off here. All right. Well, that's one side. You can just see the brick pattern happening there. I'll go ahead and get the other side taken off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got all the masking off. You can see this side and this side. You can see the brick in the tan. The windows on the sides are all done. I think this pretty much wraps this thing up for us for the masking kit. If this was, if you purchase this kit, hopefully the step-by-steps helped out along with the instruction guides. If you're just watching this because you're interested in the Reliant and you would like to buy the model or the masking kit, if you go to the beginning of the video, right underneath the description there should be a link to our ordering brochure for this kit. So we've got the top of the saucer all done, both sides, everything's done here, underside's finished. Your impulse crystals are all in. We worked on the nacelles, got those, the nacelles done, and the pylons. Got the torpedo housing all done. Like I said, other than the details that you'll have to put in now, because you'll have to put this kit together. And we did the lower sensor array with all the masking we did on that. Well, hopefully you had a lot of fun building this. Hopefully this video has been helpful. If you're building this kit, I'd like to put it on, if you can put it on Aztec Masking Kit by MaskDesign, show everyone what you're building and see how you like it or what you'd like to see changed or what you're having problems with. There's a lot of people on that Facebook group right now that can help out with everybody. I guess that's it. So for now, enjoy the build. We'll see you later. Thanks.